just a few minutes ago off camera, you might see that we're wearing the same stuff. Why? Because we paid for the space. So
we sleep here just in case you don't know.
We got bags and everything.
Yeah, we got our bags.
This is tomorrow, next week.
Right, exactly.
It's our home, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into another episode.
This is how I clean my body.
Properly sanitized. So,
and there it is.
Yeah, right? All right, and we're done with the episode. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Four Corners of Commentary. I'm K Marvel.
I'm QS.
I'm Big Stretch.
And once again, did I do that? We are The Four Corners of Commentary.
And we're homeless.
I'm not. Get y'all. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about OMG moments in wrestling history. OMG, I mean, come on, it's self-explanatory. Oh my God, King. It's basically moments that make you jump out of your seat, some kind of excitement and or sadness. It's very...
Or something that you never thought you would see.
Right, exactly.
In wrestling capacity.
Right. So, you want to start?
oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead. You
quick and painless.
threw out a
depending
company
on
I didn't think that you would mention.
Right.
Right.
Go ahead.
So,
Oh, I know a moment. Okay.
I want to just, change things up. We talk about WWE a lot. I don't know if anybody knows that or anybody who's been watching our episodes. You're kind of feeling we talk about WWE too much. I'm switching up. I want to speak about New Japan. I want to speak about the recent turn of Kenta, because if anybody knew, Kenta was basically exiled from Japan for leaving to go to NXT. Nobody liked him. No company was kind of willing to accept him. I'm assuming Noah would have taken him back at any point in time. But him and I believe Katsuyori Shibata, I don't know if I said
Shibata.
the name. I don't know if I said the name properly. But Shibata basically brought But Shibata basically brought Kenta back, and he appeared in New Japan. He was on he was on a very serious face turn, or face run, I should say, with the company, where he's getting backed by this legend, and a lot of people didn't like Shibata either at one point in his career. So to have these two parallels
of all time,
right? So to have these two polarizing figures in Japan, uniting and having their little takeover moment, which is on the shirt and everything. It was really cool. But then we get to the 6-man tag. It was Kenta, Ishii, and Yoshihashi. Did I say Yoshihashi? I really don't care for Yoshihashi, so we just mentioned him in joke drop. But against Bullet Club, I believe it was Tamatanga, G.O.D. We had, and I forget their partner.
Wasn't it Taichi? Ishimori?
It was Ishimori. So we have this match, and eventually, Ishii's, about to give the hot tag. Kenta's calling him over. He hops right off the apron, and he says, screw this match. He disappears for maybe a good 5 minutes. Bullet Club gets their offense in, beating everybody up. Eventually, Kenta comes back in the ring, and we get a Busai Kuni out of Kenta to Ishii. Everybody's like, what's going on? If you know Japan, Japan's crowd is very lively. So you hear nothing but a whole gasp and nothing but boos happening after Kenta does this. Because at the end of the match, or, closing the match, Kenta does the GTS to Ishii, and G.O.D. gets the pin. What do we see at the end of the match? Too Sweet raised in the air.
Yep.
Or we get the Switchblade version.
And by the way, did I mention this before? In me and my daughter's handshake, it's super lit. I'm just saying. Regardless if she knows where it's from or not, but she does say too sweet.
So start getting there.
Listen, man. Listen, when we're old and decrepit and we can't do this anymore, hello. I'm already giving us the next generation.
But as for why I picked that move, it was kind of hinted at for years now. I bring it back to NXT because you've always seen Kenta and Balor together. And Balor, whom was Prince Devitt in New Japan, they had this very close relationship.
Okay, so Balor
back in NXT, you know, it was hinted. You see on Instagram, you know, Kenta and Balor are always together. So even to have, I believe Kenta had wore a Bullet Club shirt and him and Balor posed together. So me personally, because I follow Kenta so much, yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
They actually, Finn was in, if I remember correctly, Finn was in his jacket, and Kenta had the Bullet Club actual shirt on. Yeah. And they had it on IG. I'll have to pull it up. But it's been heavily hinted that Kenta, you know, wants it to be part of Bullet Club. So to have this happen in the form and fashion that it did, it was surprising at the time because I personally love Kenta's face music, but his heel music is so garbage. It's like you switch from that to that, you know? But just to have that moment, and then also you have Shibata come out and he's pissed, completely pissed, irate, fighting everybody, and gets to. I'm sorry,
but by the way, so for the people who don't follow New Japan, Shibata, and I mentioned earlier, is one of the purest strikers to ever touch a wrestling ring. He had to retire because of a spine injury or was it concussion?
Cervical injury, I think. Concussion, cervical.
Yeah,
Right.
so he had to retire. So he was training people at the LA dojo, I believe.
Yeah, I think Kenta's living in not New York.
No,
Kenta's living in the US.
Right, but
it was LA.
Yeah. So when he came over and he came out, and I'll let you keep going at that.
No. I just continue.
So
you might bring up something I was.
So he came out, and the thing was that you didn't think that you was going to see Shibata in the ring again, and they went at it. Shibata was hitting him with those chops, kicks. I mean, you saw Shibata. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. You saw Shibata go off, and then you got jumped. Here comes Bullet Club once again, and I think Kenta hits him with the GTS, right? And the image of Kenta doing Shibata's famous cross leg.
I think he was sitting on top of it.
He was right on top of his chest.
And to further that point, Kenta did the same exact thing to Naito when he attacked him during his title. So just seeing Kenta, have that maybe 2 to 3 month, face run that he did, and it was beautiful.
Was it even that long?
It was I want to say about 2 months. Reason why, because it was G1.
Oh,
right.
2 months. Right.
So just seeing Kenta in the G1 having matches that he did, I think we missed a part where it could have been Kenta and Moxley at some point.
Yeah.
Which we may end up getting very soon with the US IWGP title. But just to have that type of heel work and to work the crowd as he did, especially being, he was already hated. Right. So now you just got into everybody's good graces. Now you just end up being scum to earth again. It just hit me really hard as oh my God moment. Wasn't a physical oh my God moment, but definitely an emotionally driven oh my God moment.
Yeah, I think that's a damn good choice. Yeah. If y'all don't mind, I would like to go next. My OMG moment is interesting because I think the storyline leading up to it and then the storyline going afterwards was insane. But Kane electrocuted Shane McMahon by the balls. I mean, when would you ever think that you would see that particular style of electrocution? Torture. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. Torture. And this was not too long after he unmasked, I believe. And then he went through that crazy psycho, phase. That I'm just gonna torture you and destroy everything you love type phase. And Shane McMahon was one of the first ones to deal with that. I think that moment is kind of engraved because of what it was. I could go through the backstory, but I mean, it's Kane. Look, listen, Kane's a destructive person. Shane McMahon is absolutely out of his mind, and I mean that in the most positive way possible. But once again, if y'all haven't seen it, please watch that because you will. My bad. Was that me? Message. I think that moment in itself was crazy, and I know we were just going to do one. I just feel like the explanation of that was far too short. But it does have to deal with Shane. And oh my God moment was that King of the Ring match with Kurt Angle. Oh God. And Kurt trying to put him through the window and watching them tell that story over. It was supposed to but it was supposed to break the first time. Yeah. He did it 3 times. He did the German soup.
There's a belly to belly.
A belly to belly suplex over the head, and Shane hit that glass twice. It did not break. He fell kind of like on it. I thought Shane was dead.
He hits the glass the first time.
Oh my God.
He hits the glass. And it doesn't break. It like slides down
Yeah.
the glass, and you just hear
Yup.
thud of his head hitting the concrete very
Twice.
audibly. I thought he
Twice.
broke his neck.
And then it got to a point where Kurt was like, well, we got to break this somehow. So he just throws him through the glass and then does it the other way.
Kurt,
Like, I'm getting this spot.
Kurt, I think he said he might have broke his tailbone before
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
That's
what
suplex in the entranceway.
Yup.
Yeah, that was the one when he was on the ramp, I believe.
Yeah.
So they did that.
Yeah.
The suplex, Shane suplexed him on the entranceway. And for a suplex, like an amateur wrestler, you have to pop your hips
Right.
in order to get that momentum to basically throw someone.
Freaking naked.
That shows you how tough Kurt Angle is.
That shows you how tough
Absolute
Shane
freak
is.
nature for him to be able to even move
Yeah,
after
no,
possibly
it's true.
breaking his tailbone.
Adrenaline is one hell of a
Natural
thing.
drug. Yeah.
You know, but I think those two moments, especially with Shane, because we have a lot when it comes to Shane McMahon, but I think those two moments are just too good not to mention.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me. So, gentlemen.
All right, big decision.
I mean, I'll let you go.
Okay. Okay. So
And also, no, I'm just playing.
mine is the illustration of the old adage, "Don't try this at home." And it's in the dying days of WCW, in which it was a moment nobody was prepared for, and it's one of the most extreme injuries I've ever seen happen in a wrestling match. And that's when Sid broke his leg
Oh my God.
in that fatal four-way match.
Wow.
I can't remember the pay-per-view, but
Oh, geez.
I can't remember the semantics of the whole pay-per-view. I do remember it was a fatal four-way match. And they had to cut it short because the injury happened so early in the match. Sid basically got up on the second rope. For those, you want to search it on your own, go right ahead. I'm just going to describe it. Sid got up on the second rope to do a flying attack. And that's not Sid's forte. He's not a big man. He's not necessarily used to coming off the top rope or whatever have you, or even second rope for that matter.
Right.
And he jumps and he comes down. All his weight came down on his left leg, and the tibia, which is basically a shin bone, snaps in two.
Oh, and you see it.
He's lifting his leg, and you see like his leg just like
Dangling.
dangling there.
God.
So if Sid didn't have on his boot, he probably would have lost his leg. That's how gruesome that injury is. And I, to this day, have never watched the match. I'm pretty sure they have it on the network, and I've never sat and watched this match for. I don't even know if they have like the gruesomeness of the actual injury, but I guess I can watch it tonight just to see what the commentary reaction was to it, because it's one thing for somebody to get hurt during a match. Injuries happen, you have to audible during injuries and stuff like that. And I think that the business is a lot better at handling those situations now. Like they're just going to cut to the chase and say like, this person can't continue, we're not going to do this anymore.
Right.
That wasn't always the case. We know a lot more, especially about head injuries and stuff like that and their long-term effects. That wasn't always the case back in the early 2000s and afterwards. Yesteryear. You finished a match no matter what, no matter how whoop you were, no matter how hurt you were. They had no choice but to pin Sid. It was like, well, he's hurt. We can't do this anymore. It's arguably
a title. Was that?
It was for their main title.
For the heavyweight title.
It was for their main title. I want to say it was their second to last pay-per-view, which was either Sin or Greed. I want to say it was Greed, but a situation like that where a guy is hurt and hurt so gruesomely, you're never ready for injuries, but especially those of those magnitude where it's so gruesome and it's on national pay-per-view and like millions of people are watching this potentially, and people in the arena are watching it, like thinking about it to this day, it's like stomach turning, like how gruesomely he broke his leg during that match. And I can only imagine what was Sin. Yes.
Yeah, it was
Sin in 2001. It was him, Scott Steiner, Road Warrior Animal was the mystery guy. I cannot remember who the fourth
I
participant
got you.
was.
I'm looking right now.
Um,
Jeff Jarrett.
yeah, Jarrett was the fourth participant. I should have known that.
The video came up and I instantly turned it off.
Okay.
I'm not
blame
looking
you,
at
but
it. I'm not watching it.
the complete audible for they had to shoot
Yeah.
for that moment, and to me, it's like one of those injuries. obviously this is not ballet, but it's like this is even something as small as what you think could go so wrong,
Right.
you know, that it changes everything, you know, as far as their plans for the pay-per-view, but also this man's career. He never really was the same after that.
Shows you like, don't try this at home.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure after that, I mean, WCW was bought out that year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Did he wrestle much after that?
Not much. He did wrestle afterwards, but not much. And obviously not to the same level.
Right.
Of movement. You know, Sid was at that time, which is not old, but you know, for as long as he was at that point, you know, it's pretty. He was probably in his 40s, if I had to guess. You know, he was wrestling since
He had
the 80s.
half the brains you do. Remember that.
I'm never going to tell that.
That pro, neither would I. But that promo, oh Lord.
Yeah, Sid's had some of the greatest. Sid's got some of the greatest spots promos.
Oh, man.
But as far as like the spot goes, like it was one of those moments like, oh my God, like I can't believe he broke his leg like that. And to this day, it's still like really gruesome to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Mr. Quiet, Mr. Storm, how do you play that? How do you do that?
I mean, there's only one way to play that one is when you look at where we almost saw somebody actually die.
Yeah.
We almost saw somebody die on TV, and that happened on June 26, 1998 at Cooking Room. And if you know where I'm going with this, you know it's probably one of the most oh my God gruesome moments in professional wrestling in history.
The match.
The Hell in a Cell match.
The match is gruesome.
The only time I'm talking about The Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell match, King of the Ring, 1998.
One of the top moments.
Literally one of the top moments. And I'm talking about as soon as even the match, before the match even started, you already knew the history between Mankind and The Undertaker. They were going back and forth. They had a very live match. It's literally was like, it's finally coming to a head. Okay, they have a match, King of the Ring. The bell didn't even ring. Like as soon as it was Mankind, he came out, he went to the top. The Undertaker came out, climbed to the top to get at Mankind, and they're literally beating the living shit out of each other on the top of the cell. And you know, Mankind hits Taker in the back of the chair. You're thinking that he's down. Taker somehow gets back up.
Why is there a chair up there?
And because Mankind actually went up there with a chair.
Oh no, he did bring it up.
That
plays
I almost
into
forgot.
that.
Plays into the match.
Gruesome way later on.
You know, they're sitting, and now they're sitting here. They're doing this. They're fishing each other until they get to the edge, and before you know it, you just see like the Undertaker literally just grabs Mankind, just tosses him right off the cell, and the way Foley dropped from that height of the cell and bounced on the table, crazy. It cracked. You even heard the legendary JR say, "Good God Almighty!
God is my witness. He's broken in half.
He killed him. He's broken in half. He killed him." And everybody's in mind you. People didn't notice. Undertaker's foot was broken that whole time when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Broken foot.
300-pound man.
Had a broken foot.
He just threw his ass.
He threw a lot of
Had
shit.
a broken foot. I believe Foley's teeth. I believe after that fall.
So
teeth went.
So the litany of injuries that he sustained, like I guess we'll go moment by moment. As far as taking punishment, I don't think any one man is taking that much punishment.
Mick is
one
really
match. One match.
Mick is really a glutton for punishment.
Dislocated his shoulder during the fall.
Yeah.
He's clearly like dislocated his shoulder. You know, you
He
see the
was punching his
doctors.
shoulder, or he was like dead. It was
Yeah, like
it was
he's
a little bit
literally
dead.
he's just limp. He's limp on that.
It's, all the doctors rush out. Vince McMahon himself rushes out to check on Mick. Terry Funk is there. They get him on the stretcher. And far be it from me a hijacking moment, I feel like I have to say this. The fact that, number one, he wasn't unconscious. After a fall like that.
He was still conscious.
He's still conscious. Two, he got back up off of the stretcher.
And still went to climb.
And went to climb back up on the cage. And you see, like when he's climbing, you can tell his shoulders dislocated. Like you can see him barely lift the fucking thing and he's still climbing.
But it's not the end.
No.
Because even after that,
That's what I was wondering. Is that the same match?
Yeah. All happened in that one match.
I'm pretty sure this is the only Hell in a Cell match he's ever been in.
No, he's done more.
He's been in more.
He's done more.
Against Triple H.
Way more controlled environment.
But that one was like, oh my God. Like, even after, like, you know, he would take with a broken foot, he was looking down, looking at the damage. Because, of course, you know, you get into a Hell in a Cell match, The Undertaker. bad things happen.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get hurt. It's just
You a Hell in a Cell match, period.
You're in a Hell in a Cell match, but Taker is just always the one that delivers the punishment. And even after that,
they'll just stop the match.
Yeah, but even then, there are moments now where you're like, what? Which
and even then,
we'll touch on.
Yeah,
There's
still-
a whole hell of a lot.
and it still didn't matter because even then, Mankind was still getting getting hit with a chair.
Yup.
And to this day, Foley can still attest to it that he's taken Taker gives like the best chair shots. And it's literally when you heard it, you really felt it. You're like, ow, he's beating the shit out of him. And it didn't end because even after that, Taker went chokeslam through the freaking top of the cell.
Accidentally.
Yeah,
Because it was never supposed to break.
The cell was not supposed to break, and it's still. And even when that
On a
happened,
chair.
even when that happened,
I think prior to that, they were having like I say practice matches because you have these matches more so
There's
live events.
Yeah, there are some matches
So
that
weren't they doing that spot so many times before?
Well, no,
Or-
not in the Hell in a Cell. They didn't do Hell in a Cell on.
Was it a steel cage or
I don't
something?
think so.
else?
No, because it wasn't even from that height.
Okay.
I think they planned the spot.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong,
They
but
just
you know,
didn't.
obviously nobody planned from the top of the cage.
Right, exactly.
But because
Exactly.
because of the weight, and at that time,
And they didn't
that
know.
cell, that
Right.
cell, the
Another
cell
thing is-
before,
and it's
Very
just-
first
and again,
so sturdy.
two things about that moment. Number one, Foley's going on record saying that if he would have took the choke slam normally, he probably would have been dead because he over rotates. Like you
Oh,
normally
right.
take
Yeah,
the choke
yeah,
slam,
yeah,
you know, your body is perpendicular to the mat and
Right.
everything. So if he goes to the cell at that point, the impact of him hitting the cell would rotate his body
Right.
basically where his neck is, and would fell out man,
Right.
which would have killed him.
Would have killed him.
From 20 feet up, that would kill him. That would break his neck. At the very most, he would
Yeah.
be a quadriplegic.
Yeah. Wow. Exactly.
Secondly, the chair he hits,
Yup.
careens down and hits Foley in the face.
Yep.
Knocks out his teeth, and he has a small laceration
Mhm.
underneath his lip that's deep enough
Yeah.
to where there's a moment where it looks like Foley is smiling.
Yep.
He's in the
And
corner,
that's
but
not
what
it
he's
at all.
doing, he's sticking his tongue
Yeah.
through the hole and he's trying to wake
his
him.
mouth the whole time. It's not. You didn't
Man.
smile the whole time. He's really just,
Mhm.
but it's just so much of a shock. And then you think the match is over. Of course not. No, they fucking continue it. Even with Taker with a broken foot, is still able to come down, and they're still fighting. And then thumbtacks come out.
Yeah.
Thumbtacks. Like now we're getting thumbtacks in here. You know, Foley's a freaking bloody mess. He's over here. He's a heat, and gets chokeslammed on those fucking thumbtacks. So now not only he got thrown off a cell,
Right.
he got thrown through a cell
Mhm.
roof, and now you got thumbtacks literally just indented into your back. It's just what more?
He looked bedazzled.
What more can you fucking do?
I think you can attest to that, the fact that throughout all of that and looking at Foley's career, not to say that there aren't many people who love the business like he did, but I don't think there are many people that would go through the things that he went through in the business
To entertain
like he
people.
did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he was literally willing, and to say that ECW is definitely like the promotion where everybody put their body on the line. But Mick, he did everything.
They don't call Mick the hardcore legend for nothing.
He's the hardcore legend.
He's the
Some of
hardcore
the bumps that he's taken and some of the punishment that he himself and has allowed people to
Yeah.
put
Right.
through.
Yup.
Regular
Yes,
man would have
he
been
has-
dead.
He has a missing ear.
Oh my God, the chair shot from The Rock?
He's the only person I've ever seen
What?
go through a table head first.
Yeah.
And I remember it was Revenge of the Taker. That look, I know you may not have seen that pay-per-view. There's a spot in the match that they have where he's on the ring apron. Taker hits him with the stairs, and he
Mhm.
dives from the ring apron
Into
through the
the-
Spanish and I
Yeah.
know the Spanish and I think it was an American
No, it was the
one.
regular one. Yeah.
And
And
he
he got
dives.
what? So
No,
he
he
got
dives,
hit.
like-
So was he got hit in the back and flew?
No,
He got hit on the side.
on the side.
He
He
dives to
went
the
this
side
way.
angle
Okay.
head first
Yeah.
through the table. He makes it. But again, it's head first
Right.
through a table. It's
Yeah.
like,
That was
Who does
it's a
that?
miracle he didn't break his neck.
Right,
He is.
He must be one of the luckiest people in
You know, I was
wrestling.
about to say that. As
Yeah.
tough as he is, he's incredibly lucky
Yeah.
because there's no. And he's a bright man. Like he's incredibly intelligent,
Oh, yeah.
very
And
articulate.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is
and
a
that,
miracle.
You go back to
Shout out Long Island.
like I said, you go back to with Nick. You go back to you bring up the hardcore match he's been through. That Hell in a Cell match, hell with the match he Will against Edge at WrestleMania, getting
Oh
speared.
my
God.
God.
Flaming table.
Crazy.
Like I said, Nick is the only wrestler that I know that has gone through this many thumbtacks, this many tables, has taken that many
Willingly.
shots to the head by The Rock willingly.
Yeah.
It's just, if anything, I will say that Mick has gotten anybody over just from them beating the living shit out of him.
Mhm.
And it's, even in that match, the King of the Ring match, those two, Taker and Mick and Mankind, came out clearly both as legends. They both, that match basically already catapulted them even more.
Right, yeah,
But
right. It's solidified.
But it already solidified the Undertaker. So you see this the Undertaker is clearly
That's
a
moment.
badass. But also you look at fucking Mick Foley. This is a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, because even after that, he's still, even
Carry on
after
the
losing
match.
it, he's still able to be like, he knew when everything was going on. He was in immense pain, but still was able to do this. You would think that this match was, it's stretch likes to say that it's attempted murder. In this present time, if that match was to happen again, in that same time frame, if that match was to happen again, the match would have been got called off. As soon as he got thrown off the cell, they would have just did the X and that's it. It would have been done. There's no continuation. There's nothing. Foley would not have been able to like walk back with a limp, dislocated shoulder to climb back. They would have just been like, get out.
But you start off a match like that.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there? Like, it's like,
You can't do it.
he got thrown
what
20
comes
feet off of his cage onto a table.
I think
Hard to beat that.
I think because of the way that spot, how infamous that spot is, I think that created the opportunity for people to do things like jump off the cage, like to jump off the Hell in a Cell. Excuse me, because people have been jumping off the cage forever now. But even at that point,
They constructed it to where it's less dangerous.
Yeah.
To where it's way more controlled.
Yeah, and they've made it, and the cell itself is stronger compared to like compared to when it was the first Hell in a Cell match against Shawn Michaels, right out the Hell in a Cell match against Mankind. That cell was weak. It just was a weak cell. Like you can just tell it was weak. It wasn't
fortified now.
Yeah, I mean they've evolved.
They've evolved.
You know the stages and the cells and all of that. But that moment, that might be the
top moment.
It's one of the
top moments.
You can't. I don't think you can think of the WWE and watching it for as long as we have without thinking of that
It's the
moment.
top moment for me for not only the implications of the match, but the implications of the human being that took it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, and I hear people today, like people were literally complaining. Shane McMahon did the elbow off the top to the Undertaker.
Oh yeah, right.
And Kevin Owens too. Fine. People were complaining. I was like, oh, he had a cry. I'm like,
Yeah.
would you rather him not? Like, would you rather try to
Freaking
freaking kill himself?
Shane would have had a broken back.
That's like,
do you want that?
This is still a
He
human
was
being.
still injured.
He was still
a father, a husband.
Right, this is still a human being that's jumping 20 plus by that structure is now, whatever have you, onto a table, for lack of a better thing. I don't care if it's a pad underneath it or whatever have you. It's still a drop. It's still impact. It still has to hurt.
That's still a scary. Like,
I'm not jumping off anything 10 feet.
That's
personally.
That's such a scary. Like you would say that's an adrenaline rush. That's still scary. You're jumping off 20
One
feet.
false
It's like,
move.
and we're sitting here and we're like, oh yeah, so it's like thinking like, oh yeah, we're gonna play this like, hey guy, hey, all right, cool, you're gonna be here, yeah, you're gonna lay on this table. I'm gonna go up the top. I'm gonna jump, and you just get off. That's.
I think the timing.
Yeah, for you to
It's
be
very professional.
You have to be that much more professional. You have to trust the other person
Right.
that much. But at the same time, that's still scary. That's 20 feet.
Yeah.
Over 20, almost 30 feet.
At what point do you open your eyes and say, "Oh my God, let me roll over"?
Yeah,
Right.
it's one. That's even.
What if
it's
you roll at the wrong time?
What if you didn't hit?
So,
What if you didn't hit the table when you fell? What if you don't?
I think
He
there are.
jumps it. He misjumps it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there are so many variables when it comes to some of these moments and some of these, and even simple moves. And it really is just one bad moment. I mean, Stone Cold breaking, getting his neck broken while
Sid.
taking the or Sid, right? Like, I mean, there are. I think people don't. Wrestling gets. I said like 6 times. I apologize. Wrestling gets all this slack about it being fake and all these moments, but the
Risks are
the
very real.
risks, right?
The risks are very real.
Right.
Like, these guys do get injured. Like
They are stuntmen and
They're everything.
And on a TV, on an actual
Yeah,
TV.
they're everything.
Yeah.
They're everything. Because even a simple hold can break something, can permanently injure somebody. Like, you can do a Boston Crab, and if you sit too far, you're breaking that person's back.
Right.
So once again, I think there are just, when it comes to OMG moments, and we'll bring this up again on a future episode because once again, there are just far too many.
Right.
So there won't be any honorable mentions today. But once again, we will retouch this episode because there truly are just too many, and there's so many different companies and so many different moments. We can literally do this for the rest of our podcasting career and be absolutely fine. So on that note, we're going to close out the episode. Socials, like always, QS started off.
You already know where to find me: Instagram and Twitter. Find me on as Forever Thiefin. I am actually not spelling that one out for this episode, because you can just go back to episode 10 and find that.
Check the bottom in the description. Remember that.
Yeah, just check
Always.
the bottom. Always, follow our council commentary group, follow our pages on all social media platforms, and join our group. Like I said, we are very welcoming. We talk about all things wrestling.
Sir.
Striker Dragoon. I'm Striker Dragoon on Twitter, Instagram,
And OnlyFans.
That's
It's okay. We might as well just make it.
Yeah,
OnlyFans coming soon.
Oh, that.
Sorry, so
ain't nobody know about it.
Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and that's it for me. Stretch, what you got?
At my Instagram, Jador Sapio, that's JADORESAPIO. That is on Instagram, and you can find me in our Council Commentary Facebook group as well. Link in the bio. You'll see it. Link in the description. Please check us out. Look forward to having you.
And as always, I am Mr. Marvel 87 on Instagram, Twitter. Share, do all you can to get this podcast out because we really appreciate it. And the more y'all like it, the more we are willing and able to put out content for you. So as always, we are the Four Corners of Commentary. Everybody stay safe. Remember social distancing. Shout out to all the first care. First what? To the first responders and healthcare workers and everybody on the situation.